Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with another episode of Speaking My Mind. How are you guys all doing? I hope you're all doing well. It's a very nice day today. Yes, I am still wearing a jacket despite everything. Whenever I get back home after doing my walks and whatnot, I'm always sweating and I always have to put my shirt in the wash because it sweats too much. Always. And I'm just walking, I'm not running, I'm not working out in it, but but regardless of whatever the weather's like, whether it's cold or warm, I'm still sweating like a pig after. Just, sometimes it mystifies me, it does. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. What do I want to talk about today, guys? So I wanted to talk a little bit about universal basic income, because I feel like it's been a while since I've kind of spoke my mind about it. And obviously I'm speaking a bit more off the cuff sort of thing, rather than having the so-called papers and details in front of me sort of thing. So, but I still want to do a universal basic income live stream of some sort in the future with Rob Spear, and hopefully with, personally I'd like to do it on the Sunday roast with him, Alex, and perhaps an expert on this subject, because I'm somebody who's not just an advocate of it, but very fascinated by it and the prospects and the benefits that it could have. So what is UBI? So it's called the Universal Basic Income. The idea and concept behind it is, let's just say, hypothetically, as an example, everyone would be given £1,000 a month, and it would be provided straight from the state, and it would go straight into your bank account. And that money you could use however you wanted to. So it's just a threshold of money that goes straight into your bank account. No ifs, no buts sort of thing. Well, it's obviously like there are different varieties and different circumstances, but this is the term universal. If you're gonna call it universal, and sorry about the sun in the camera's face, but you can't call it a universal basic income if it's not universal. And what I mean by that is it needs to be for everyone. And some people don't think this is a good idea, and they have some argumentative points and some fair points. But here's the thing. If you want to sell universal basic income, you've got to know what the counterpoints is, and you've got to have the answers for when those counterpoints come. How are you going to fund this? How are you going to ensure that people are still going to continue to work for a living and contribute to society? There's so many, how are you going to, there's so many questions about UBI and the negatives of it. But the overwhelmingly positives counteract that. Now, it was a long time ago when I was first starting my stream. I think it was like a few months into my YouTube channel that I actually did a universal basic income live stream, which I thought was very good, and I'm probably going to go back on that, have a look back on that and see what I said in that, and I may even, if I don't do a UBI live stream soon, I might just do one on my own to talk about it, because it's a topic that needs to be talked about again, because we have a society at the moment, here in particular in the UK, where a lot of people are worse off and they're desperately crying out for help. Now, we do have something called universal credit, and a credit system by the Department of Work and Pensions, and the system is very much broken. It is incredibly unfair, and you literally have to jump through so many hoops. If you are somebody, regardless of whatever your situation, if you're someone with disabilities, if you are someone with mental health issues, if you are someone that literally just lost their job because, I don't know, they were made redundant, or whatever your reason is that you're not employed right now, yeah? And you're trying to claim universal credit, obviously just keep making a living, keep earning, because obviously you've got bills and whatnot, nobody can live on no money sort of thing, right? So there's all sorts of reasons, right? There are so many hoops that people need to go through. And it honestly does not matter what your situation is. They make it incredibly difficult for you. I think the thing that really upsets me is the way that the DWP are treating those with disabilities more than anything, those with mental health issues. And what's really, and I do use the word angry, what really angers me more than anything is that none of these, when the people who work at these job centres and whatnot, have these phone calls and conversations and whatnot with the people, they have no experience whatsoever as a doctor. They have no experience in healthcare. They are literally just workers there, and they have targets that they are set, and if they don't reach those targets, they'll be pushed aside and whatnot. They have to make it extremely difficult for people to be able to claim universal credit, because we have this premise in society, and I do mean this, there's this premise in society that young people these days are too lazy, that they don't work hard enough. That's the perception that a lot of older generation people have. They think that our society and that people within our society don't work hard enough, or they don't care, or they're just too lazy, and that is absolutely nonsense. Everyone knows the situation that our country is in. We have lots of businesses are struggling right now to get on their feet. There's the colleges and universities are struggling right now. People just don't have money. People can't afford a proper home, for crying out loud. Some people are going as far as not being able to feed themselves, and let alone their kids. There's countless videos of this being said so, and this is the factors that people are having to go through, and it's absolutely horrifying for people. It's part of me feels like that the staff, when I hear these stories, part of me feels like these staff should be sacked, they should be thrown into the same hole as those who are struggling, to see what it's like. Because while I understand they have job to do and they got targets to set, and it's not the best job in the world, there is a way to treat people, and the way that people are treated is absolutely disgusting. So why is this tied into universal basic income? Well, that's why I want to, the way I would do it is, the way I would do universal basic income, everyone would get they would start with a set amount, and depending on your income or your situation, some people would get more or less because of their situation. So if you're somebody who has, so let's just say hypothetically, the government provides everyone with a standard £1,000 a month state benefit, right? Go straight into your bank account, all right? So if you're somebody who's on, let's say you're somebody who has really disability issues, you would get additional top-ups because of your disabilities, and instead of some idiot or some guy from the job centre or whatever doing this, you would have a professional doctor or GP or whatever assess you, whether it's by video call or in person, to assess your claim, and then you would be entitled to additional benefits on top of that to compensate your disability. Logic, right? Makes logical sense. Okay? So, and it will be the same with mental health as well. And obviously for those with mental health issues who are struggling and whatnot, you would have to see a doctor and GP and whatnot, and they would try to push you towards seeking the help you need to help you get back on your feet, so that you're not always fully relying on this payment, but you would do it in a humane way, which is something very hard, I think, for us to accept. But guess what? We are humans, and we have emotions and feelings. We're not bloody robots and machines. So just think about that for a second, guys. And if you are somebody earning a certain particular threshold, you would gain, depending on how much money you would earn a bit less from universal basic income, and the threshold of what you earn from the UBI would be less and less, depending on your set of salary. It would depend on your set of salary. So let's say if you're somebody earning 50,000, well, instead of earning £1,000, maybe you'd earn, I don't know, £800, £700. If you're somebody earning £100,000 will be less than 500 a month, or so, less than 500 a month, something like that. Yeah, the higher your wages earning, the less universal basic income you need, because you wouldn't need that money because you're earning enough money working for a living to be able to compensate yourself. And now, obviously, if you have income of such, for instance, like you're a millionaire or billionaire or whatever, you wouldn't be entitled to it because you already have a huge amount of money within there, unless there may be tax ways and loopholes ways of getting around it as well. So one of the counter arguments for UBI is that it will just force people to stay at home and not contribute to society and whatnot. And the reality is that is true. There will be some sections in society where they will not contribute and they will not do anything. There is that section of society, but does that cancel out the positives of a UBI? So I suppose those, let's say for instance, those who have been on universal basic income, let's say for about, I don't know, a year or 2 years and haven't found any work at all, whether it's full-time, part-time, whatever, maybe they would do an assessment asking like, how have you been? Not a pressure, but like, what can we do to help you talking to them about what exactly you're doing. Are you doing community work? Are you doing YouTube work? Or are you looking for work? Like, what exactly are you doing? Like something you would go and assess to, you would have to come to. You sit down and see what exactly, even if you're doing volunteer work, like you're playing your part in society, even though you're not getting paid for it, that maybe that would be a factor into it. There's just something that are you doing something with your life? You're not just sitting at home, playing video games, moping around, whatever. But are you contributing of some sort to society, whether it's pay, volunteer, or whatever? How can we help you contribute to society in a way? Yeah, and it wouldn't be something that would be forced. It would just be a general discussion from somebody, I don't know, from DWP or whatever they call it, that runs the UBI system sort of thing. Something along that line, because because it's not good for your mental health if you're just sitting at home. Nearly tripped over. It's not good for your mental health if you're stuck at home 24/7 playing video games and just watching TV and Netflix and whatnot. It's not good for your health. Getting out and about and doing things is very good for your mental health. As well as obviously from a health point of view. So those are some of the things. So there's that as well. So what's the other negatives? Well, obviously is how do you fund it? So how do you fund something like a universal basic income? How do you cost this? Well, there's quite a lot of ways you can fund this. Now, obviously, we're talking in I don't know, like 70 to 100 billion pounds or something out of the taxpayer. There's a couple of ways I would do this. Like there's a couple of ways I would suggest of doing this. So one way would be a tax, a universal basic tax, I would call it, a UBT, universal basic tax, that everyone in society has to pay into. Yeah, just like everybody pays into the NHS with the national insurance. This is one, like I said, this is one way we could do it. Everyone pays into it a certain percentage, and that money is used to fund society for those who are for the universal basic income, and you pay a bit more you pay a bit more into this tax. Depending on your work or threshold. By the way, I am going off the top of my head, so I already know there's going to be flaws in some of the things that I'm saying, but I'm just going off my head on some of these things. Yeah, so you could do it via a tax sort of thing. That's one way you could do it. The other way is just you don't do a tax at all, and you simply just pile up a debt on it. And you pay it by debt or by dividends, by, I don't know, taxing the rich and the wealthy in society. And they could always pay a bit more tax. There's loopholes and whatnot you could always plug as well. There's plenty of other ways there. But yeah, you could rack up a debt in doing so as well to pay for it. But all these ways, here's the thing that people don't understand, is that it would pay itself back in the long term. Now, what do we mean by it's going to pay itself back? Now, the reason why I say it will pay itself back, regardless of however you start it, in the long term, it would benefit everyone, and it would benefit the economy, and it would pay itself back plus more. So let me give you an example, right? So everyone pays taxes, everyone contributes to society in one way, shape or form, right? When you go to the shops, when you buy something, when you go to the shops, when you buy something, whatever you're buying, whatever it is, right? You're not just paying, obviously, it's buying the thing that you're buying, you're paying their money, part of your money goes to the shop or whatever. You're contributing to the economy. It's a tiny bit, but you're playing your part in contribution to the economy. Now, people on the universal basic income, I'm going to sit down for a minute because this is going on quite a bit. So people on a universal basic income, right? What are they going to do with that money? Now, some people may want to buy clothes or buy food and things the essentials that they need to keep them going by for some of them. And where's that money go? Goes straight back into the economy, goes into businesses and whatnot. And that helps drive the economy, drives growth, all that kind of stuff. And the idea is that universal basic income pays itself in the long term, because the majority of that money that you get from the state, from the taxpayer, you end up going to pay it back into the system, because you need to buy essentials for yourself to make a living. So in a way, yes, you're paying for it. You're getting a grant from the government, but you use that grant obviously to buy essential things. The other thing as well is that, let's say somebody wants to start a business, right? Some people don't have the savings and whatnot, or some people need to build up the money to be able to start a business. Well, I'm getting £1,000 a month from the universal basic income. I could start a business with that. I'll just give it a couple of months, make sure I've got enough money behind me. I don't need to take out a massive loan from some loan shark or from the bank. I have the money that I've gained from the universal basic income. There we go. Like, there's, obviously with any business, there's always a gamble, but there's that option as well. So it obviously gives people a bit more optimism, a bit more chance to create and start their own businesses as well. And it reduces the risk factor into it as well with that universal basic income. There's still so much on universal basic income when I think about it. But those are some of I've gone almost 18 minutes long talking about this. And I'm sure there's a lot more to this, obviously. And there's lots of different forms of universal basic income. But what do you guys think of universal basic income? What do you guys think of some of my thoughts on it? I may do a second video to this, I may not. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about universal basic income. Like, share and subscribe as always, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.